You are well on your way to having the perfect American accent. Well done. But how are you feeling about it? How now? Brown. How do we say it? How do we say how? In terms of very slight variations of it, there are certainly several different ways that I would consider to still qualify as perfect. But there's even more variations that are wrong. They're not wrong in terms of sounding lovely, I'm sure they're beautiful, but they're not the quintessential generic American accent, which is what we're here to try and discover and master, myself included. Let's talk about how. The ow sound, you'll see it a lot of times with OW. How, now, brown, cow. I'm overly exaggerating, emphasizing that sound. It can be a lot better. Sound. Noun.
Noun, and around are all examples of that same basic vowel sound being spelled with OU instead of OW. So you may see it spelled different ways. Like with everything else in English, it's not always a single way. How now, brown cow? How do we make the ow sound? If you're not already familiar with how to make it, try this trick. It's not perfect, but it may get you started. Say ah, as an apple. Some folks say apple. I'm very happy. Don't do that. That is not what we want. We want apple. We don't want apple, or we don't want to say it in a British way. We're being generic Americans after all. Or as generic as we can be. We'll still have our individual quirks, but they won't be code-specific to anywhere but America in terms of pronunciation of consonants and vowels. And cadence. Happy, apple, crappy, sappy, flap, flap wings, flap, app. Get the ah sound right first. Ah. Ah, not ah, not ah, not aw, not o. It's ah. So do an ah, and that sound. Remember it. Say, oh. I'm really exaggerating my lips here to show you. Ho, said Santa Claus. Not Santa Claus. Santa Claus. Ho. We have ah and o. Ah, o. Ah, o. Ow. Ow. Say one, then the other. Say ah, then say oh. Ow. Ow. You hear people say, elsewhere, ow. I just got hurt. Ow. That hurt. Ow. Safely. But it may sound kind of like those two sounds put together, one after the other, without any space between them. And that might be what we call a diphthong, if I'm using the term correctly. But even if I'm not, you want to say correctly, how now, brown cow? How now, brown cow? It's faster, it's less overly articulated in everyday speech. Just like most things that I'll emphasize here. How now, brown cow? Very happy the movie was sappy, and ate an apple with Santa Claus, who said ho, ho, ho. Owl, how now, brown cow? How now, brown cow? It's come up instantly. Owl. Owl's a tricky word. You might see it, O-W-L. It's just one type of bird. I'm sure there's many species of owl, but it doesn't come up all the time. But when it does, you want to be there, saying it correctly. Owl. Owl. That's overly emphasizing it, but we almost pretend that there's an extra vowel in there. Vowel. Owl. Vowel. Owl. Owl in terms of how people say it in everyday, regular, casual, American English speech. Almost rhyme. Almost rhyme with vowel. And that may help you get the last syllable, because it's almost 2 syllables. If you say it with only 1 syllable, different to not say owl. Owl. You don't have to say that. You don't say owl. It starts with an A and ends with an ool. Whenever we say an L by itself, we often, not always, but often, say ool. If there's not a consonant before it, we tend to kind of make up a consonant if it goes right after another consonant. In this case, W, so O-W-L. In order for Americans to say it, we almost pretend there's an extra consonant. Or vowel, excuse me. We almost... So... Brown cow. Did you speak with wise owl? The wise owl. 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 Wool. Sheep's wool. Like the bird. The wise owl. Good for you. Glad you spoke. Owl. W-I-S-E. I'm sure you might all be very familiar with. The S in a word that sounds like Z, as in zebra. Afterward, the S's in them, almost on a case-by-case basis. Each times will sound like a S, and in which the S will sound like a Z in zebra. That's a little tricky, and kind of unnecessary. It almost seems like we're inventing people who are going to learn English. Yes, we're not. I think we are. But wise is pronounced with a Z. Wise, same with wisdom.
As a fun little game, some word S, especially some a figure to turn, get them to discuss, and which sound like is when they are pronounced, when they're spoken. How, brown cow, the flower, said me. Wise owl. Very good. You are on your way to mastering perfect American English. Said me. Wise owl. Very good. You are on your way to mastering perfect American English.